Welcome into Hockey Sense, everybody. How we doing today? It's another Friday, and we continue on with Hockey Sense live from Half Coast Studios, brought to you by First Community. As always, First Community. I was talking to my kid's principal yesterday. I mean, who knew? He's a hockey fan, and he says he signed his daughter up for Little Blues, brought to you by First Community. I said, you're a smart man. If you want to get your son or daughter into hockey, that's the only way to go is the Little Blues program, which First Community puts their name on. First Community puts their name on the St. Louis Blues Hall of Fame. Nobody supports hockey like First Community, so check it out. The Little Blues program, you get everything, including your skates, sticks, skates, all your equipment, everything you need. Reasonable costs, great instruction, and the kids, most importantly, have a lot of fun, and they want to come back and do it again. I suggest you do 2 sessions. If you played organized hockey in the past and you're between the ages of 4 and 9, you don't qualify. So if you've never played organized hockey, sign them up and get them started and decide if they like it before you invest thousands and thousands of dollars to the sport of ice hockey. Our friends over here at Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Call David Novak today, get that free estimate, and check out the age of your roof. You know, some of these insurance companies aren't going to pay for your roof if it's over 10 years old. So now's the time to get ahead of it. If you have a roof that's 8 or 9 years old, why would you wait to get a new roof and then have to pay out of pocket? Take advantage of the insurance and do it today. Soffit, fascia, any type of storm damage, whatever it is, roofing, obviously, siding, 314-920-5713. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Get that delivery. If you live within 10 miles of a Dirt Cheap location, you can get free delivery when you use the promo code BLUES. I mean, how nice is that? Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Check out the nearest location. Get the party supplies. Listen, if you're having Halloween parties tonight, happy Halloween. I should have worn a mask today. Then you want to make sure you get the Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Best selection of beer, wine, and booze, plus all the party supplies, paper goods, everything you need. But you can have fall parties, campfires, Thanksgiving, everything you need for the fall and the winter, and then obviously the holidays right around the corner. Take advantage of that with Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Cross Country Mortgage, my boy Mark Cooper, call him today. If you're a first responder, you can go to sleep peacefully at night knowing that your mortgage is going to be covered up to $525,000. Are you kidding me? That's what Mark Cooper does. That's what our Cross Country Mortgage does. And Cross Country Mortgage, you know, one of every 35 mortgages in the world, or in the country, I should say. Might as well be the world, but in the country. 1 in every 35 mortgages are closed by Cross Country Mortgage. Isn't that something? That's kind of crazy. Use my name or say Hockey Sense or Andy Strickland, and you won't pay any closing costs and no fees on any refis. So if you're looking to refinance your home, now's the time to do it. They got like 30-year loans in the 6s or the 5s, 15-year loans in the 6s. Loans are at an all-time low, or at least lowest they've been in over 12 months. So again, Cross Country Mortgage, Mark Cooper, this guy's the best. Cross Country Mortgage, 314-713-4377. All right, the Blues lose last night to Vancouver. Baby steps. They made some progress. Vancouver's missing a bunch of guys, including Quinn Hughes. So he's like missing 4 or 5 guys with his ability to impact the game. You know, that's a game I felt like St. Louis should have had. You know, you get the first goal of the game, you get a 2-1 lead, then they fall behind a couple of times, and they just couldn't find a way to get that next one. You know, they had a ton of chances. And, you know, as much as we talk about the Blues' struggles defensively, they got to start scoring at a higher rate and get more guys participating in the offense. And when they get chances, man, you got to find a way to bury it. You're waiting for Kyrou to have that bust-out game. I know he had points in 8 straight. His streak came to an end last night, but, you know, you're waiting for that 2-goal game, that hat-trick game, just, you know, that game where they just bust out. Buchnevich, he's gotten off to a real slow start offensively. They need more guys. Shen, everybody. What happened to Shen in the shootout, it's just a complete fluke. Puck just kind of jumps off his play. You're not going to see that happen too often, and certainly won't see that happen very often to him. I don't know. The goaltending is what it is. There's plenty of blame to go around. I can't sit here and just focus on the goaltending. You know, there's been so many bad bounces and some bad puck luck and whatnot, but at the end of the day, your save percentage is what it is, and we all know to win in this league, you need high-end goaltending. Not average goaltending, not goaltending that's just good enough. No, you need above average, great goaltending to win consistently in the National Hockey League. And the Blues have gotten that in the past. I'm sure they'll get that again as we move forward. You could focus on the stats defensively all you want and say, hey, the goals against are way high, and they are. But the rest of the stats, it's interesting. They only gave up 18 shots last night. They're among the league leaders in shots, attempts against, shots against, ozone possession time in the defensive end. I mean, they're near the top in the league at all these different categories with the goals against. I guess that's all that matters. That's why you can't believe and trust all analytics. I think some tell the story, but they certainly don't tell all of the story. Jimmy Snuggerud was excellent last night. Gets his 4th goal of the season. That's a real positive. He's on the ice with a minute to go in the game. I mean, it just tells you what Jim Montgomery thinks of his young sniper and the type of trust that he has in him right now to help close out a period to try to get to overtime. You know, as much as he talks about guys like Sundqvist being the binky, you know, comparing Sundqvist to a binky to a baby, saying he just kind of calms the coach down. I love how he put that. And he said that about Pius Suter, too. I mean, both those guys, Sundqvist and Suter, they just kind of have that ability to do that for the coach. Sundqvist out there taking the final draw in regulation. I think there was 2 draws. Suter took the other one when the faceoff changed to the other side. But, you know, kind of gives you an idea of who has the trust of the coaching staff. I got to give a shout out to Dalibor Dvorsky. He's joined us on this show on a couple of occasions. I'm a big fan of Dvorsky. Listen, they drafted him 10th overall. They need him to work out. And all signs certainly point towards him working out. I mean, this guy had 20-plus goals last year as a teenager in the American Hockey League. Very rare. You don't see that happen very often. And here he is in his 2nd year pro as a 20-year-old, which is typically the first year you're eligible to play in the American League anyway. You know, because of him being European and some of those different rules, he was allowed to play in the American League last year as a 19-year-old, which isn't always the case. Next year, I think they're going to have a new rule in the CBA where every team could have one 19-year-old playing in the American League. So he's ahead of schedule from that standpoint. And, you know, Alexander Steen, he was in Springfield last weekend. He caught 2 games, and Dvorsky scored in both of them. So that was great timing for him, because the reports that I was getting about Dvorsky prior to that was that maybe he wasn't as close as people were hoping that he would be. You know, they want to see him get more involved in the game, more engaged, and he looked engaged last night. I mean, his puck play, his puck decisions, what he did with the puck on his stick, even in the neutral zone. I mean, just getting the puck in deep, corner dumps on his backhand, moving the puck quickly in the neutral zone, not hesitating, playing with confidence, look comfortable with the puck on his stick. I wish he could have buried that at the end of the first period. He hit the post there on the power play. But they're going to put him in position to do what he does best, which is utilize his one-timer. I mean, his ability to one-time the puck is elite. He's got an elite shot, even at the NHL level, an elite NHL release. And you're going to see more and more of that. I love the fact that he was getting some opportunities there on the power play. Would have liked to see him get more opportunities, even down the stretch late in the game. Get him on the ice and let him tee some pucks off. But could you imagine what this power play is going to look like? Yes, Snuggerud on one side. You're going to have Dvorsky on the other. Listen, the future is going to be bright for the Blues. And we got a glimpse of that last night. I thought Logan Mayhew, he took the penalties in the first period, a couple of bad penalties. But he was as aggressive, and you're seeing that confidence grow by the game with him. So that's a real positive sign with Logan Mayhew. As frustrated or confused as people may have been early in the year, hey, what is this? Listen, he's 22 years old, and he's only going to get more and more comfortable. And the more comfortable he gets and the more confident he gets, then obviously you're going to see him impact the game in a much bigger way. And last night, man, you just see him deep in the offensive zone. He's behind the goal. I mean, he's looking to create, he's looking to jump and generate some offense and utilize the skill set that he has. I talked to Jakob Dobas, and you can go back and listen to the interview when we had Dobas on this show, the goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens, but I've talked to him privately too. Listen, he raves about this kid. They played together in Laval. He tells me how disgustingly sick he is. Those are his words, not mine. And I think people will start to see that. Jake Neighbors, some of the younger players, listen, they'll tell me, hey, listen, everyone's just got to calm down, stay out of his ear a little bit and let this guy just play. And you'll start to see what he can do. And I think you're going to start seeing more and more of that. So you have Mayhew on the back end. You've got Broberg on the back end. Didn't love Broberg's decision to get caught on the breakaway goal by Kiefer Sherwood, who I've seen play since he was a kid, by the way, playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He and his brother Cole were great youth hockey players, playing in that Tier 1 Elite Hockey League with Columbus, played against the AAA Blues throughout their entire childhood, and they were both really talented. And Kiefer doing his thing, man. This guy, I mean, am I crazy to say that he should be on the radar for USA Hockey? I really mean that. This guy's a hitter. He's physical. He's got way more skill than people realize or give him credit for. I mean, look at what he does in the shootout. He hit the post, but, on breakaways, he had a great breakaway move in the game in Vancouver, too. He's got a great release. You see his shot that he got on his hat-trick goal. Put him on the Olympic team. Let him run around and just create some havoc and be physical and then chip in with the odd goal here and there. I love it, man. Love watching him play. But Broberg got caught on the breakaway goal. That can't happen. But Broberg, Mayu, Holloway scores, Snuggerud scores. Dvorsky has a great game. Listen, we saw a lot of what the Blues' future is going to look like in the coming years last night. You want to see some wins. They need some wins. But a lot of positivity from that standpoint. This team's going to be good. And they're going to get more guys coming. Pekarsik down in the American League right now, he's turning a lot of heads. It's getting a lot of attention for how he's playing. Stansel's going to be good. Stenberg's going to get more and more comfortable. Lindstein, his ability to pass the puck, he's turning some heads down there right now, and he's going to get more comfortable and adjust to the, professional game over here from a defensive standpoint and start defending at a higher level. And I think Joel Hofer, help rediscover his game. I was talking to him last night about some of the struggles that he's had. He said, listen, when my feet aren't set, that's when I get myself in trouble. So even if he's playing a little deeper in his net, as long as his feet are set, you look at the Rust goal, you look at some of the, that was the first goal against Pittsburgh, and some of the other goals that he gave up in that game. He says when his feet aren't set, he just kind of gets himself caught and he's in trouble, like I said. So hopefully we'll get his game back. You just don't want to dig too deep of a hole, man. It is tough to dig yourself out in the National Hockey League. All right, Darren Dreger is going to join me on this edition. We'll go around the league with Dregs. Always look forward to it. Always love my conversations with Darren. And then Jamal Mayers later on this edition of Hockey Sense. We've got lots to get into with Jammer and certainly a ton to get into with Darren Dreger. So stay with us on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Lordo's Diamonds. Get that special someone, something special in your life. Are you looking to pop the question this holiday season? Best selection of engagement rings are over at Lordo's Diamonds, lordosdiamonds.com. Mike and Jimmy Lordo, Pat, everybody over there, Cindy, big shout out to all of you. And listen, they've been around for over 70 years for a reason. Nobody has better customer service. So if you go in there with a $100 budget or a $100,000 budget, guess what? You're going to get treated exactly the same. That's not lip service. That's the truth. Go to Lordo's Diamonds, right next to Truffles. You can't miss it. In the heart of Ladue on Clayton Road. Give them a call, 314-432-8008. All right, this is Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. We are taking a break. Darren Dreger, he joins me next. I'm Andy Strickland. Thanks for hanging out. It's our Friday tradition, live from the Half Coast Studios. Stay with us. All right, Darren Dreger back with us here in Hockey Sense. Always great to catch up with Dregs. And listen, happy Halloween to you first off. Where's your costume?
No costume today, although I don't know if you can see it or not. I've got it's called the Cam River Fighting Walleye.
Nice.
It's my favorite sweatshirt and junior hockey logo, period. It's a Northern Ontario junior A, junior B, something like that, but just a fabulous logo. So that's as far as the costume going on this Halloween is for me.
Hey, promote what you and Ray Ferraro do with your podcast, how people can hear it, how often you guys release it, and how can we get it down here in the States? I mean, I would imagine it's just like you can any other podcast, right? And all the platforms.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Andy. And thank you for the plug. We drop twice a week, normally Tuesdays and Thursdays. It gets a bit complicated with Ray's travel. I mean, obviously he's on the road a lot. But yeah, normally Tuesdays and Thursdays around midday, and should be able to find us on all podcast platforms. But Ray, I mean, everything is entertaining with him, but with a little bite to it. Hell of an analyst, as we know.
Yes.
I mean, I'm biased, but I think he's the best in the business. And saying that, though, He brings some heat every once in a while, depending on what's bugging Ray. And so far, so good. He's got his zen going early in this regular season, but I'm sure he'll get wound up as we get deeper into the regular season.
I was talking to Kelly Rudy a few weeks ago, and I asked him that question: who's the best color analyst that he thinks ever in hockey history? So you think Ray Ferraro is the best in the business today? Who's the best play-by-play guy? Because I know you've worked with a lot of play-by-play guys too. Who's your favorite to listen to?
Ooh, that's a great question. Well, I mean, I'll be biased here in Canada, and I think that Gord Miller and Chris Cuthbert are right up there. From a old school entertainment sort of perspective, Jack Michaels, who calls the Edmonton Oilers games, man, he can just flat out bring it. It's almost like he's singing when he's calling a game. So I mean, there are three. They're primarily Canadian based, but you know what? And I think you'd concur with this, Andy. We're fortunate in the National Hockey League to just have a high level of play callers, and not just at the network level. I mean, locally, unfortunately, things have kind of shrunk over time, just the way the industry has gone. But we've been blessed for many, many years to have educated and entertaining play callers. But those three are probably top of mind, mostly because when I'm sitting on the couch at night, if I'm not working in studio, then 9 times out of 10, I'm surfing and I'm stuck on the Canadian games just for virtue of having to do shows like this and everything that we have to do on the Ray and Dregs podcast.
Yeah, all three of those guys are exceptional, and I love Gord Miller's calling. And Cuthbert obviously has been a part of video games over the years too, so like it's such a familiar voice. And Gord Miller is kind of the voice of the World Juniors all these years too, so it's you can't go wrong with any of those guys. And Jack Michaels, man, I don't know where he finds the energy. He used to work. I want to say he worked in the Blues, minor league system. I think in Peoria or something. I think he was in the minors with St. Louis years ago or something. There's some connection there, but he's a super, super nice guy too. Did you ever almost go work for a team? Like, had teams ever called you and say, hey, we want you to come be our host or work, be a part of our broadcast? I mean, I would imagine that's happened throughout your career.
Yeah, a couple of times. I've had instances where I've had teams gesture. And the problem with it was, there's lots of life-altering decisions that you make in any profession, right? But the two that come to mind, there wasn't a specific role. So we're talking about a general sort of position somewhere within the organization, maybe inside hockey operations.
Yeah.
But it was never defined like, okay, you're coming in and we want you to host games. I did play-by-play in my early days, coming through the Western Hockey League with the Brandon Wheat Kings. I did play-by-play there. I did play-by-play in Winnipeg when the Manitoba Moose first joined the International Hockey League. That was when the Jets got ripped out of Manitoba and dragged to Arizona. So I did play-by-play there. And then early days with Sportsnet, I also called a number of Ottawa Senators games in the National Hockey League. So I got to tell you, when I first cut my teeth, broke into this business, I thought I was going to be a play-by-play guy. That's what I wanted to do. I loved the juice of it all. And just as my role evolved at Sportsnet, in the early 2000s, it became apparent that no, here's the path that you need to go on for a variety of different reasons. But I would, you've brought up an interesting topic, and good for you. I wonder about whether or not there won't be something for me if somebody's crazy enough to take a swing at me as my career winds down. The insider business isn't what it once was. I still enjoy it. There's still juice in it. But there are so many terrific reporters around the National Hockey League. And with social media, obviously, I mean, breaking a story or getting real, just hands dirty inside information is near impossible now. So, I'm not so sure that that's the way I'm going to end my career, whenever that is. So, and I'm not getting any younger here, Andy. Who's kidding who? Maybe there would be an opportunity with a club. But my kids are older and they're out of the house. So
Yeah.
I'd probably end up having to stay in Canada and gets a little bit more complicated after that.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine some opportunities will come your way. The insider business, it is interesting because you talk to so many people. And what's changed the most for me, Darren, is this. I just have these conversations and then I don't think to like run to Twitter to put something out. And I'll give you an example the other day. Like we're just talking and somebody who said the Tom Lander, the defenseman from Vancouver, he was going to get called up and play his first game. Didn't think much of it. And then like I see like a day later, it's like all over Twitter. I'm like, oh, maybe I should have tweeted that. That would have gotten a lot of attention. But I just don't run to. I don't approach it the same way. Maybe I used to. Maybe that's my fault.
No, I get it. But, you're similar to me in that we have so many conversations over the course of a week, even over the course of a day. A lot of that is trust based.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people must feel safe with you when they're having those types of conversations. And, if you don't get specific and tell the person that's giving you this information, look, are you okay if I report that? Well, if you report it without actually having an on the record conversation, or that individual doesn't know that, guess what? You've just ruined, a relationship, and you're not going to do that. And I've gotten way more sensitive to that over the years. And I don't know if you notice or not, like social media, it hasn't worn me down because I stopped for the most part, stopped reading my comments and all of the nonsense and stuff that's just thrown out there. Because no matter what you say, what you report, I don't report opinion very often. I always just stick to the facts and stick to the information. But even that, draws just some wild stuff. Not just coming back at me. I'm a big boy. I can manage that. It's when they're tagging other people and they're drawing other people into it that I just don't like. I just flat out don't like it. So more and more over the last probably 3 to 5 years, I've tweeted less and less. And maybe that's not the right thing to do, given I'm a paid hockey insider. But I feel through the podcast, through my varying platforms at TSN, that I can get the messages across and I can report the information more so in a mainstream fashion.
Saying you're having these conversations, and I don't think people are talking to you thinking that you're just going to go run to Twitter and put it out there. I think they're just having a conversation. So I never know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I am going to ask you for your opinion on this because I've seen Vancouver play a couple of times already this season live, once there and then in St. Louis last night. And this Kiefer Sherwood, and I've seen Kiefer play since he was a young kid playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the junior Blue Jackets out of Columbus. He and his brother Cole were exceptional youth hockey players.
Yeah.
Is it crazy for me to say that this guy, I mean, the goals he scores are high end, Darren? Like, it can't be a fourth line guy run around and crush guys on the USA Olympic team. I mean, is it crazy for me to bring his name up and bring him into the mix?
No, what's wrong with that conversation? I mean, we do it in Canada all the time when we're looking at the roster, the developing roster, and we're watching Connor Bedard have the good start that he's having in Chicago. We're looking at Macklin Celebrini in San Jose, Matthew Schaefer. Like, come on! I mean, he's a teenage defenseman. Chances are he's not going to crack Team Canada's blue line, but man, he's playing well. He's playing with poise. He's playing with confidence. All of that. Needs more experience. We can appreciate and understand that. But why can't you have that conversation? You're allowed to play your way into the conversation of making a power Olympic team like Team USA or Team Canada. You're allowed to be in that conversation. I mean, it's early for sure. And when you try and crack those lineups, man, you just can't be a real good productive player for a week, a month. It's got to be sustained. But in Kiefer Sherwood, he's an interesting cat. He really is. He plays with pace. He plays with power. He plays with energy. And on top of that, I don't know him, but I've done a little bit of research around Vancouver, and I know that organization pretty well, from senior management right through to Adam Foote, who I've known forever. Kiefer Sherwood's he's got character. He's a good dude on top of all of that, right? So what do you want in the ingredients of a player? He may be on the outside looking in, obviously, as we have this conversation, but I'm okay with having the conversation, especially if he continues to deliver the way he did last night.
Yeah, well, he scores beautiful goals too. I mean,
Yeah.
breakaway goals, his shootout attempts. I mean, he's got some high-end skill or sneaky skill. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think people give him credit for it because he runs around and hits so much. But I think he's calmed that down a little bit and maybe not chasing the hits maybe the way he once did. Now that he's established, how's Ottawa finding a way to score so many goals right now without Brady Tkachuk in the lineup?
Yeah. Well, getting Drake Batherson back a couple of weeks ago was key, right? And he's really found his stride. He's on the wing there with Timmy Stützle, and they've kind of changed the other wing. Nick Cousins has been there of late. They had Fabian Zetterlund up there. He can't really seem to get his productive wheel turning. So they continue to audition there. But look, this is old school stuff. Travis Green, the way most NHL head coaches think. And it's okay, let's define our identity as good defensive structure, and then the offense can feed off of that. I know it sounds cliche, and it sounds like every veteran coach in the league, but it works in Ottawa. It does. And I just feel like there's a real sense of belief there. I still believe that they're going to hit some growth pains here moving forward. They're a team that's on the rise, but there's still some challenges that they need to face. And I'm sure that Steve Staios is looking at areas that potentially he can improve. But it really has been an internal fix in trying to cover up the massive loss of Brady Tkachuk. Now, the good news, as you know, is Brady's back on the ice, but he's still a ways away from being able to return. What's curious about Ottawa was the timing the other day of Linus Ullmark coming out and challenging the team. I'm not a big fan of that when the goalies do it because, goaltending is such an individual position, right? And man, are you exposed when your game is just off marginally.
Yeah.
Not when you're completely off the rails, just a little bit. If you're off your game a little bit, you're going to get lit up. That's just how good NHL forwards are. So he came out swinging the other day, and Linus, he's got a few warts on him. He does, even with his play this year. So I think that shrinks, the acceptance or allowance of him to have an off period or an off game now. He's got to be at his very best. Now, the body of the work suggests that he's capable and will do that, but we'll see. I mean, for me, there's still a question mark, right or wrong, fair or unfair. I still have a question mark beside the goaltending in Ottawa. But aside from that, I think they're a team that's ready to make a move. I had them slotted in the 3-hole in the Atlantic Division at the start of the year. Now, every division is upside down, but Ottawa is right where I thought they'd be at this stage.
Yeah. We saw Stolars do that too. And, a few weeks ago, and I asked a few goalies about that, and they said, yeah, it's probably best to do that inside the dressing room. Keep that behind closed doors if you're going to call out your teammates. Who is Toronto? I mean, did you feel like coming into this season they were going to take a step back after some of the changes, or are you surprised with their start?
I am a bit surprised by their start, but I did also think that they'd take a step back. Yeah, I mean, look, I've been criticized openly for how I feel about Mitch Marner and his game, and that dates more back to, his last contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs and how the fan base, felt like he got overpaid and he's not a playoff performer and blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, the reality is Mitch Marner never got enough credit for how solid he is defensively, and the fact that his overall game is top notch. It just is. It was in Toronto, and he's still in a feeling out process in Vegas, but you can see what he's able to produce on a night in and night out basis there. So, okay, Toronto couldn't really control that process. It was either you make the deal with Vegas or Marner walks for nothing. I'm sure that Brad Treliving has had some sleepless nights where, okay, man, maybe I should have forced the issue way before the trade deadline. Maybe going into last season, I should have put a deal on the table that I didn't love, but at least, that's sort of what if, shoulda, coulda sort of game. Well, they didn't do that, and they weren't, so you can't think about it in that sense anymore. But there was an emphasis on trying to add at least one top six forward coming in. They've got Matthias Michelli, who's playing their top six. I had no problem with that deal at the time. Why not try? 2 years ago, this young man was a point producer. Last year, not so much. So you think with Chief Craig Berube, maybe you can squeeze something out of this guy, right? And I think he's been okay. I just don't look at him as a consistent top six forward.
Yeah.
I don't. And then beyond that, you've got Max Domi coming off a good game, had a couple of goals the other day. Again, is he a top six or is he a third line player? So you've got Willie, you've got Matthews, you've got Nyes, and you've got John Tavares. And then the rest of those guys, with all due respect, are kind of the same pieces. I thought Nicholas Roy was going to be more impactful than he's been. Really, he's been a fourth line player for the Leafs. I thought Dakota Joshua was going to be more impactful. He's a fourth line player, and defensively, man, like I don't know what's going on with Brandon Carlo this year, but we're struggling. So their defense in general has been struggling, and that's created all kinds of problems. So we'll see. I do think Berube is going to be able to straighten it out because, as you know better than anybody, he does not lack in the ability to communicate. We see it every single game, and maybe eventually they get the message on a consistent basis.
Yeah, gotta have thick skin though as a player to play for. Yeah, and if you take it personal and you shut it down, that's a tough situation to be in. Not saying that's happening. I'm glad he said that about Marner. I've always been a Marner fan. Just watching him play, I got my kid a Marner jersey a couple years ago, just because I just love the way he plays. And watching him play live in a game in Toronto last year, we were up there for a tournament, and to see how he kind of plays to the energy of the crowd. And he's an entertainer on the ice, man. I love watching him. And so you're missing a little bit of that. And you're right. When you lose a player like that, I mean, who are you replacing him with? I mean, it's just kind of, it's trying to find a puzzle piece that matches. But the reality is you're just not going to find one. You need another. I know you're talking about losing a 100-point player. What's going on with Matthews? Because he's not scoring. Is that about losing Marner, or are we seeing something bigger here with Austin?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's been growing pains, and that shouldn't be the case with a player who's been in the league as long as Austin Matthews has been. He's been a finisher, or was, with Marner there. Marner was the consistent playmaker, and obviously Matthews would benefit from that. I know that Berube expected and still expects Matthews to bring a more complete game. And we haven't seen that yet on a consistent basis. What I mean by more complete is, driving the puck into the zone, holding on to that puck, driving the net occasionally, he's a big man, getting in their net front and getting the odd greasy one, as the coaches like to describe, shooting from different areas on the ice. They don't have the players that are there to put it on the tee for Austin Matthews. And, when William Nylander is healthy, okay, they've been experimenting a little bit by having the nuclear line with Nylander and Matthews, and they put Bobby McMahon on that line so they can move Nyes down to spread it out a little bit. But if that doesn't work, then what are you left with? Then Austin Matthews is going to have to adapt his game. There's no other option.
Yeah.
No other option. I mean, they're going to get Scott Laughton back here. I don't think he'll be good enough to go on the weekend, probably early next week. But then we need to find out, okay, what is Scott Laughton with the Toronto Maple Leafs? Because last year, he was a bottom six forward. And even before injury, he was a bottom six forward. So is he magically going to get elevated to the top line and play wing with Austin Matthews to distribute the puck? I mean, there are so many questions, and it's a fair one to ask what's up with Austin Matthews, because our mind always drifts then to, is there something physically bothering him? And I haven't seen that yet. But others have asked.
Yeah. A couple more things. I can go in so many different directions. I mean, Trevor Zegras is putting up points now in Philly, but Jack Hughes is in your opinion, is he a top 5 player? Is he a top 10 player? What is this guy?
Ooh, top 10 for sure for me. Top 5, you're getting into penthouse territory here, right?
Yeah.
Because you're talking about, I mean, I would have Rantanen as a top 5 still. I just love the way Mikko Rantanen plays the game. Sidney Crosby. Come on, man. Like, you know, Nate McKinnon, of course. Connor McDavid, okay, he hasn't scored at the pace we're used to seeing. He's still a top 5. So it gets into pretty heady territory there. We did the New Jersey game last week, and the Toronto New Jersey game. And that was a Jack Hughes hat-trick game. You know, he scored the empty netter. But you're seeing a swagger in Jack's game early this season that maybe we haven't seen. That just shows that you continue to evolve, even as a highly confident goal scorer in the National Hockey League. It's not like this is the first year that the world is seeing Jack Hughes put the puck in the net. But then we're reminded of the Jack Hughes that we saw at the Four Nations last year. And man, he just looked like he was timid. He looked like he, at times, was overmatched.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this kid play at the Olympics. Because,
man.
I mean, he's going to be terrific.
Especially if his brothers they're hockey players. Especially if his brother's there too with him. You know what I mean? That'll give him a little more juice too if his brother's there with him, you know?
Well, yeah, that could be fun to watch. But I think that as good as Jack has been this year, there's still more to give there. There's still more to. He's still developing as a young man and still a young player in the National Hockey League. But what we're seeing now, and it's not just the goals. Like, okay, that game in particular I'm watching, but it was how he matched up against Matthews, who we just talked about. That is equally impressive. He doesn't skate in the shadow of anybody anymore in the National Hockey League. And Andy, you know, when you've got that level of confidence, either with the puck or without the puck, that's what defines a true star in the NHL. You can put up the big numbers. That's great. Yeah, you're star quality when you're putting up the big numbers. I get that. But when you're a complete player who is equally dangerous with or without the puck, well, now you're in superstar territory, and he's headed in that direction.
And especially if you do it on a winning team, and they're winning a lot of games right now too. So I saw Crosby live get his 1,700 point. I mean, this guy's unbelievable. His goal that he scored on Joel Hofer, I'm convinced he did that on purpose, where he shot it off his chest and the skater into it and scored. It's just like it's Sidney Crosby. What's his career going to look like when it's all said and done? Could 2,000 points be realistic, or is that way too difficult to predict at his age right now when he's at 1,700?
Yeah, well, I'm going to say it's plausible. You know, because I was one of those guys a bunch of years ago that looked at Alex Ovechkin and went, nah, I respect, I admire, I have nothing but appreciation for the career of Alex Ovechkin. I just didn't think he was going to get there, and he got there, and who knows where he ends. So I'm not going to question Crosby, aside from Father Time here, let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know, he's a 90-point player. He'll have 90+ points this year, but you know, he's 38. Like, yeah, you know, another 300 points, 295, whatever it is. I mean, those are pretty big goals. But he works at his game as, you know, probably as hard as anybody, and not just in season, in practice. You talk to any player who has the benefit and is fortunate enough to skate with Sid and McKinnon and that group in the summer, and especially the young guys who've never done it before, doesn't matter if it's early in the summer or they're ramping up, getting ready for training camp. If you're pissing around out there and you're not out there to give it your all, you're not getting invited back. And you're getting an earful from Sid and from Nate McKinnon, because that's just how they're wired.
Yeah.
And that's what's made them successful. And that's what keeps the blood just boiling in the veins of Sidney Crosby. So knock on wood here, as long as he can maintain his health,
Yeah.
and something ridiculous doesn't take hold of his game, I think he could be really impactful at 41 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
I do. And that's why I've got time for the conversation of him hitting 2,000.
Yeah. Well, they just play like, hey, this could be their last run with all these guys together, with Malgin and Letang, and the way Malkin's playing right now too is they're fun to watch. I mean, they're a team that I pull for, Pittsburgh. I just want to see them get back into the playoffs. Are we at a point now where Celebrini has to play his way off the Olympic team? Has he been that good where you can just pencil him in right now? Or do you feel like that's still being evaluated?
It's still being evaluated, but real close. Ray Ferraro refers to Macklin Celebrini as Crosby light. Just again, the overall game here. Our Chris Johnson on Insider Trading on TSN on Thursday said as good as those two young guys have been, and I'm talking Bedard and Celebrini, and they've certainly both played their way again into the discussion of whether or not you take one or you can possibly take both. It doesn't sound like Canada believes that they've got room for both young guys. And with all due respect to Connor Bedard, I like the overall game of Macklin Celebrini. So I'm in the camp that thinks he's closer to a lock than fighting for a spot. But there's still a lot of time left, and let's be honest here, Andy, when you're talking about those final spots, John Cooper is going to have tremendous influence on who 11, 12, and 13 forward are. I mean, that's just normally the way it is. And in Coop's case, he's earned that extra level of influence and input. But, I know Doug Armstrong was in Winnipeg recently, and not with the Blues. He was there scouting. And I'm assuming that he was there keeping a real good eye on Mark Scheifele, among the candidates. And I chirped him by text. I'm like, Blues aren't in Winnipeg, but there you are in Winnipeg. And I'm guessing that you'd rather get your scouting in Winnipeg done in October as opposed to going back there in early December. And he laughed and he said, you got that correct. Something along those lines. But to bring it back to Celebrini, is he in the same conversation as Scheifele, as Nick Suzuki, or, are those two guys maybe looking for that 13th forward spot? I don't know. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for the discussions with management and coaching for both Team USA and Canada.
But especially Canada. It is just so intriguing to be. You have Tom Wilson. You have all these guys that are just fighting to get in. And you mentioned John Cooper. He's going to push for Cirelli and some of those guys. Hagel, obviously, who had a big role in the Four Nations team. So we'll see how that plays out. Anything surprise you with any of these contract extensions over the course of the last week or two? I mean, some big money being thrown around.
Yeah, big money. And look, and not that Logan Cooley doesn't deserve an $80 million contract, but that I think shifts the process a little bit. And if I don't think that Colorado comes up to 11-5 on Marty Necas if Logan Cooley doesn't get $10 million on an 8-year term. I don't. So I think that the standard has been elevated here. And it's going to be interesting for me to see whether or not that standard is applied to the Adrian Kempe negotiations in Los Angeles, right? It's quiet there right now. Kenny Holland, the wily old veteran, is just kind of hiding in the weeds going, okay, let's just sit and see what happens. Well, that cuts both ways. I mean, the player's agent could say, all right, well, the offers that we've discussed are no longer on the table. We're just going to sit tight. Not saying that's going to happen, but the belief is that the Kempe camp wants at least 11 or north of 11 million. Well, Logan Cooley's getting 10 times 8. You've got Anze Kopitar retiring. Adrian Kempe that's a tough piece to just allow to walk free. And then Alex Tuck in Buffalo, right? Is he a $10+ million player? He's close.
Yeah.
But again, when Logan Cooley's getting 80 schmil, these older guys are going, okay, wait a minute here. The cost of doing business just went up another $1.5 million.
I know. Good for the players. It's good for the players. I mean, they're all going to be getting paid crazy. It reminds me of the 90s almost, or early 2000s when guys were getting $11 million to $10, $11 million into the 30s, and they're signing extensions after 30 and getting crazy money. I don't know if we'll get to there or not because all these young guys are getting paid, but it's interesting. Detroit's winning games too. That's Todd McClellan's got those guys going in the right direction. There's a lot of great stories. We'll just see how many of these teams can sustain it. Great. You know what I mean? And who's going to be there come Christmas time. So,
yeah, well, there are some great stories. You're right. I mean, I was looking at it again this morning. I mean, Tampa Bay we just talked about Coop, but they're back on track. I mean, this is the team that I think most of us expected. Flyers, Columbus, you mentioned Detroit, they're all on winning streaks, but there's some question marks too across the league. I mean, not to take us into a different direction here because, obviously you need to go, but the two teams that are now surprising to me, your team, St. Louis and Minnesota. Like, they're better than what their record indicates. And, 10 games from now, we're probably looking at completely different records because these are good teams that just aren't performing right now.
Yeah.
But it's that surprise sort of game cuts both ways.
Yeah. No, it's been a big surprise. But they're digging a hole, right? I mean, you can only
Yeah.
climb your way out of the ditch so many years in a row, and they did it last year, and they did it in 2019.
Yes.
It's not realistic to do it all the time. But the good news is for St. Louis is you're seeing Snuggerud on the ice with a minute to go last night. Dvorsky gets called up. He
I
had
like it. Yeah.
a really good game. Holloway scores. Mayu had, starting to show some confidence and play his best hockey. So, Broberg, they've got a lot of young pieces. They're going to be good moving forward, and a lot of those guys are getting a lot of playing time and playing important roles. So,
Yeah.
we'll see what it means moving forward for St. Louis. But thanks for doing this, Darren. I appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Andy.
All right, that was Darren Dreger. Jamal Mayers coming up, and lots more to come here on this edition of Hockey Sense. That interview was brought to you by Kirkwood Fence. Hey, your yard isn't private without a good fence. I keep telling you that. Kirkwood Fence builds quality fences that last, and they give that family of yours that privacy and safety that you need. Not just deserve and all that. You need it. You got to have privacy, and you got to have safety. So, building a fence, it's a big investment. It's not something you take lightly. So here's what you get at Kirkwood Fence. It's the Love Your Fence plan. So you schedule the free design consultation with a fence expert, kirkwoodfence.com. You can go there. You get a estimate, based on your budget and your fence style choices. 5-star installers get to work on building your fence of your dreams, and they really are 5-star. These 5-star installers are incredible. Enjoy your fence for years knowing it has a craftsmanship warranty. And I can speak on that because they did my fence, and then the tornado came, and it did a little bit of damage, although it held up because it's a Kirkwood fence. I mean, the other fences in the neighborhood were like up in the trees, but not mine, not the Kirkwood fence. And they didn't have a Kirkwood fence, so their fence is like up in the trees. My fence just had a little bit of damage, but guess what? Kirkwood fence comes out, promptly and repairs it and does everything they say they're going to do. KirkwoodFence.com. Check it out and do it today with Kirkwood Fence. Hackett Security. Listen, I go to sleep at night. I don't know about you, but I am very comfortable knowing that I am secure, my family's safe, everybody's in a good spot because of Hackett Security. Give them a call today. Set up your free consultation, 314-432-4200. I mean, these guys do commercial, residential. They secure government building and businesses all over the country. They've got offices in Scottsdale. They've got offices in Washington, D.C. They're everywhere, but including right here in St. Louis. So you can get your business security solutions. Ask about that. Residential security solutions. They know nothing's more than protecting your family. So do that today with Hackett Security. Get those cameras, get the alarm system, get everything you need with Hackett Security. Again, 314-432-4200. All right, this has been Hockey Sense. We still have lots more to come, brought to you by First Community. Again, First Community, they take care of you like you've never seen before. I mean, Glenn Barks and everybody over there at First Community has your personal interest in mind, which is always great, right? So make the savings work for you. If you've got some money sitting around on a savings account, maybe it's in a cookie jar, maybe it's under your mattress, maybe it's in your kids' piggy banks. You ever do that? You ever go in your kids' piggy banks when you need a few bucks? Well, I think my wife's done that once or twice, but then we put it back in. You can open up a certificate of deposit and earn over 5% for as little as $500. Really good rate. The more you invest, the higher the rate. No monthly service charge. Your money's completely accessible to you, which I love. So whatever you do something with your money that makes sense. Make it work for you and keep it safe, most importantly. The team at First Community is there to help you figure out what's best for you. Check it out, firstcommunity.com. Dirt cheap fun, your one-stop party shop. Again, check out all the party supplies, the paper goods, the beer, wine, and booze. Get that delivery. Use the promo code BLUES, and you're going to get free delivery. As long as you live within 10 miles of a store, they've got stores everywhere, so chances are, if you're listening, you're within a 10-mile radius of our friends over there at Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Cross Country Mortgage. I mean, they got incentives for everybody, from doctors to first responders. If you're looking to refinance, no closing costs. You'll save over $2,000 on loans. All the lender fees, all the appraiser fees, throw it out the window. They waive it when you mention my name or mention Hockey Sense. So call Mark Cooper today. Cross Country Mortgage, 314-713-4377. 314-713-4377. All right, let's step aside. Jamal Mayers. Jammer, he's next here on Hockey Sense. Don't go anywhere. Brought to you by First Community. All right, welcome back into Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Spas and more, just get it out of the way.
Oh, dude, great now out of the gate. I'll tell you what, I'm, so excited for next summer because they're going to take good care of we're going to have a hot tub, like an 8-person hot tub, a cold tub, the chili tub, the
chili tub. That's not the swing.
No, this is a singular for one person only at a time. It's a cold tub. It's about 45 to 50 degrees, filtrates itself. Unbelievable for your health. And I'm going to have a traditional Swedish sauna, 5-person sauna in the backyard. So you go cold tub, start your day, cold tub, sauna, cold tub, sauna, cold tub, finish cold.
What do you mean? Back and forth in one day?
Back and forth.
In one day?
3 minutes in the cold tub.
Oh, 3.
15 minutes in the sauna, back and 3 times.
You wouldn't do the cold tub in the winter, though, would you?
100%.
If it's like 6 degrees outside?
I got to find a way. It's going to be the way I start.
Then you get one with sauna, and that'll feel good. So you can keep all these outside. You don't put them inside.
They'll be outside. They're all the saunas regulated to be outside. Obviously, the hot tubs outside. Everything's
is this a standard hot tub, or is it one of these
standard hot tub? 6-person, 8-person, we'll see. But those 3 things are going to help with my wellness plan.
Help them wellness. The Jammer help them wellness.
So excited.
Are you getting the lights that light it all up?
No, I don't need that. But Spas and More,
they'll have all those,
They do, but we don't. There'll be some lights in there, and the light. It's probably part of the deal. But I'm so excited because Master Spa dealer with 2 locations, Sunset Hills and Oakland Park. Mike Leahy is the owner of Spas and More. You have to know this. Master Spas is an American hot tub and swim spa manufacturer in Fort Wayne, Indiana, not far away. They're the largest hot tub and swim spa manufacturer in the U.S. Already told you about Michael Phelps' chili goat tubs for the cold tub. Spas and More offers high-quality tubs, swim spas, cold tubs, and infrared saunas, and all of your health and wellness and relaxation needs. Turn your backyard, can't wait, into the oasis of your dreams with a master spas from Spas and More. Spas and More located at 12957 Graboy Road in Sunset Hills, where we put the is spa. I know you're going to be working and talking to Angie and hey, we have a nice backyard here. We've got some empty space over here. I got another show. I don't know if you ever want to be a part of it. Don't think I don't know your tricks, Andy.
Hey, I'm a smart businessman. And I'm a little jealous when you're talking about all this. So, it's just I want in on the action, too. I want everyone in on the action.
Well, you have an active family, and your wife's unbelievably, into fitness as well. I'm telling you, this is something I think you should do.
I like
it. Think about your kids and soccer players, hockey, playing hockey. It's going to be amazing for everybody. And you have a lot of runway for them to be using it.
I know. What are you going to do with the hot tub in the winter or the summer? When it's 100 degrees.
Not go in the hot tub.
You're going cold tub.
I'm still going to do the contrast. That's like a daily rebound.
Even when it's 100 degrees, you'll go in that sauna.
Yes.
It's good for you. What's the maintenance? Try to keep this thing combined. It's very easy, huh?
It's like a filter. So the cold tub is a singular cold tub for one person at a time. It has its own filtration system. So it's not like you're changing the water and going back and forth. It has its own mechanism that will do all that.
Yeah. St. Louis Blues. What's weird? I know you like the analytics, and a lot of people love the analytics. And sometimes they tell some of the story, but they rarely tell the entire story. I guess they can. Blues among the worst in the league in goals against.
Not among. 5-on-5, the worst.
Okay, so they're 31st, I think, in goals against.
32nd, 5-on-5.
Okay, right. So, but They're among the best in the league at ozone possession time against, shot attempts against, shots against. They only allowed 18 shots again last night. So, how do you look at that? How do you analyze the Blues defensively when they don't spend a ton of time in the net? They don't give up a ton. But the chances they do give up are grade A. They're 5-bell chances, as Jim Montgomery likes to say. And a lot of fluky goals, man. A lot of bounces, bad bounces, and some bad puck luck. I'm just curious what you're seeing defensively.
Yeah, a couple of things for me is I try to see things positively. And I think with the injuries and the fact that they are, like, there's two things that remain a constant for me. Goaltending has to be better, right? I think that's fair. It hasn't been up to the standard that each of them would say. I think you're safe to say that. Having said that, you also have some injuries to some key players, but I look at it as an opportunity to tighten things up defensively and fix, and you have the attention of the team, right? Everybody in that room knows where they are defensively. I think you can fix that part, right? I think if you fix that part, because to me, defending is a choice. You fix that part when all the other parts come back together and the team is healthy and the goaltending, which it will, fix itself and they'll get back on track. Then you're in a better position to make up hay, pick up points, win hockey games, not feel that deflating feeling of a soft goal here and there, which makes players question whether they're defending well or not when you're not giving up that much.
Yeah.
And I think, but tightening up even more when your goalies are struggling is what you have to do. Because to me, it's about winning. You can sit there and complain that Hofer hasn't been himself, or you can find a way to win the hockey game. Like, that's what good teams do. Even though he gives up tough goals, especially the start games, find a way to win 6-4, shut it down defensively to help protect him. And I think that that's probably the focus for the group is, guys, we've got guys out. We've got key guys out. We're not giving up a ton. Let's tighten it up even more defensively. Let's try to make these games 2-1, 3-2. Let's limit the opposition to 2.
Yeah.
And I think that if that's the focus, it's only going to help you in what is a marathon of a season versus trying to outscore your problems or trying to go the other way, which you're going to open yourself up even more. And I think it's probably important that they show them, hey guys, we're actually not giving up a lot.
Yeah.
But we're giving up, like, we gave up only 18 shots, let's say. But of those 18, 6 were golden grade A shots, opportunities.
Yeah.
Let's tighten that number up so that the opportunities that they get like that is 4. Like, that's a big difference.
The breakaways they're giving up, I mean, they've had some situations where the decision-making by your defenseman is leading to some of these, breakaways again that just are so preventable, Jamal. You know what I mean?
It's simple. Like, to me, like, I get it. You want to keep plays alive. Can't really do that without an F3 that's there to support you. There's teams that, like Carolina D, don't have to think. They can just go.
Why is that?
Because they're 1,000% certain that their F3 is going to be able to do their structure because of their structure. So when you don't have that, and you're trying to, like, trust your instincts as an offensive defenseman to keep plays alive and get there because you think it's a 50-50, that hesitation, that indecision, you've already lost the race. You can't take a straight line. Like, I don't think that from the top of the circle to the top of the circle, and it's advantageous of you to take a straight line at someone. It really isn't. At the end of the day, everybody's activating a net front D. Everybody's acting as a second layer. I don't think even hitting in the neutral zone for a defenseman is in a straight line is a good idea. Yeah. If the next layer of player is not your teammate.
If you had backside pressure coming, maybe you can do it.
Maybe you can do it, but he's got to be on the right side of it, right? So, listen, every team does the same thing offensively. They reload, they try to get above. They want to keep plays alive on the strong side. Every team, long rim, the offside D pinches. But you have to have the coverage. You have to have the trust. And, if you're a little bit off in that decision-making, then you're going to expose yourself to odd man rushers and breakaways and opportunities which seemed to come out of nowhere.
You've been on teams that have struggled. What's the mood like? What's it like when you're just you need a win in the worst way? I think the Blues are 0-4-2 in the last 6.
The challenge when that's happening is to come to the rink with energy. So it's a difficult balance for the coaches. You want to create an extremely uncomfortable competitive environment, that this is not okay. So make it really uncomfortable, making practice harder, battle drills, but also make sure your leaders are coming with a good attitude and a positive attitude, because negativity breeds negativity. So I know it sounds, sometimes you're manufacturing the positive, almost like overemphasizing small positives until they start to grow. Because, to me, it's hard to get out of those things. Even when they start doing the right things, a bad thing might happen. So don't feed into that. Feed into the positive. And it requires a conscious effort, in my opinion, for not only the assistant coaches, but the leaders in the group to accentuate the positive and create that good energy. Because you're not going to get out of it if you're negative, or if you're down in the dumps, or your body language isn't good. It's pointing fingers. You can't do that. So it's hard. It's really difficult, and tests who you are as a person and as a teammate to rise above that and try to find the positive, because there are going to be negatives, and you got to muzzle it out. You got to nip it in the bottom in a sense of kind of quiet those voices down and accentuate as hard as it is. And it might feel like you're manufacturing it, but you need to do that to start to compound some positive things.
And I think when you have the leadership the Blues have, I don't think they'll get to that point. Right?
No, they're in a good place. They're well suited, in a good place. They have a formula that works. And I trust that they're honest with each other. I think that's probably really important as well. And just demand more from each other. Demand extra. Like, if you think you're doing enough, like, second effort isn't enough.
Yeah.
Third and fourth efforts are required.
So, the Blues win 12 consecutive games in the regular season last year at home. Then they win 3 more at home in the playoffs. They won 15 consecutive games. They've won 1 game at home this season. And listen, the season has not gone as planned, right? I don't think anybody saw this happening. I think there's got to be a little bit of a state of shock among the players inside that dressing room, certainly with coaches and management. They called up Dvorsky. He played really well. I look at last night's game, and I'm like, I'm trying to focus on the positive, and I see a lot of positives, and I see the future of what this organization can look like. I see Snubberud play. He's probably their best forward last night. Holloway gets back on track. He scores a goal. Mayu is playing and demonstrating the most confidence that he's shown since he's come over. And you have Groberg, and I mentioned Dvorsky and some of these other guys, right? Neighbors is on the blue lineup. I mean, can you look at it that way? Can you say, well, these young kids are getting an opportunity and they're thriving with their opportunities, and that bodes well for the future? Can you look at it that way?
I think you're constantly evaluating your team. I'm not in management, obviously, but my assumption is you have an expectation of coming into the season. When it doesn't meet that expectation, you have to ask why, and then you have to reevaluate. Where are we relative to where we thought we were?
Mm-hmm.
And then, to me, you have to decide, are all of these pieces supposed to be here? Are they in the right seats? I think those are the evaluations you're making. Is it the injuries? Is it where we're playing? Is it the people and what seats they're in? And do we need to move on from certain people? Those are real conversations, I think, that are had every day.
Yeah.
Because what you don't want to have happen is you get to a point where you get healthy, things are going good, and this when you're struggling, that's character revealing, right?
Yeah.
You're getting the real sense of who they are. I don't think you can undervalue that. I think that it reveals the character, reveals the lack of character. And sometimes I think you have to make difficult decisions, and you can't really move people and things when they're not going well. But to me, you start to have those conversations around the league about who isn't going to fit into your program going forward. And you want to wait till they're playing well again and say, yeah, we'd like to move on from this player. And to me, I think those conversations have to be happening, because if this goes any longer, and we can blame it on goaltending, we can blame it on injuries, we can blame it on 5-on-5 goals against, whatever the case may be, a combination of all of the above, to me, you're going to have to make some decisions and move away from some players who might have been here and were a part of the solution, but now you realize they aren't. And I think that constant reevaluation, I would assume, in management is being done, because you can't sit there and think things are going to change if they keep repeating themselves. And I'm sure those conversations are happening.
And Doug Armstrong's been in this situation before, and he's been rewarded by choosing to remain patient.
Yeah.
Can you rest on those previous experiences and say, okay, hey, we're going to get our way out of this? I almost made some moves in previous years, chose not to, and it worked out. Or you just have to look at every individual season as its own.
I think that my assumption is there are players that they've been thinking about moving on from for a couple years.
Yeah.
And I think that there's other teams that are looking at players that they'd like to move on from. And I think that it's hard to do hockey deals in today's NHL because you have to, for the most part, match salaries. But I think they're out there. I think that you have to make those decisions that's why they get paid.
We'll especially if a Dvorsky plays his weight and stay here the rest of the year. It's one game. And I think, hey, he passed the first test. Like, he looked really, really good.
Yeah.
And, but now it's about kind of grind between games, the practices, and then, bringing it the next game and the next game after that, right? That'll determine whether or not he stays here or he's here to stay or if he's headed back down to Springfield. But I think, that could certainly impact some decision. You need to get Robert Thomas back. He's your best player. You don't have your leading goal scorer, Jake Neighbors. Out. Those are two big holes that you're just not going to replace. And I go back to the Detroit game last Saturday. They had a 4-0 lead. They lose the game. They don't have Thomas for the entire third period. You feel like maybe if you did, he could help manage the game and maybe get you out of there and at least get a point. But you didn't have him. And those games are tough to overcome, right? And find your way back. When you lose a game like that on the road with ref 4-0, then end up losing the game. Those are tough to turn the page on.
Yeah, those are really tough. I think just that you shouldn't lose those heavy games, right? And it's really tough to rebound. It's really difficult to hit reset. And in those moments, I don't miss the anxiety of what that feels like and what that means and how I don't think fans really understand how much players like chew on that. Like, that's something that really bothers them.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's how they respond. It's how they hit reset. It's how they find a way to get back to it. So that's the hardest part in professional sports.
What do you see from Snuggerud? You've been watching him. I mean, like, his release last night, that's what he could do. He's had a lot of chances in the previous game, so you felt like it was coming. He's up to 4 goals now on the season. And how does the rest of the team react when they see a young player not only now producing, but now getting opportunities? Say he's out on the ice in critical situations.
It says to everybody in the lineup that if you perform, you'll get more. And I always joke that, with the girls with soccer and with kids development and younger players development, is the coach doesn't have to be nice to you. I know how the coach feels about me, how much you're playing. So, that opportunity that he's getting is a reward for how well he's playing.
And I thought when you have personable coaches like the Blues have, like Ira's a personable coach. Weber's a personable coach. Jim Montgomery, personable coach.
Yeah. That helps the relationship, helps the trust factor. I never liked questioning. Like, I thought we were good and I'm only playing 6 minutes, then I play 12. I didn't want to get in that head of, I wanted to know it's because of this, and like flashing. Like,
would you go knock on the coach's door if you weren't sure?
If I wasn't, no, I just knew I didn't have like relationships with coaches. Like, it was like they were the coach.
Even with you.
He was the coach. And like, I talked to him at the end of my career, like when, I was 37, 38, yeah, I would have real conversations. But when you're like 25, 26, 27, it's like, I knew based on, he didn't like the way I played because I didn't play the last 7 minutes. Right. I didn't need to go ask him. Like, you know what I mean? Versus like, it's different now, right? I think it's better now. I lived in a state of limbo a lot of times. I had to figure out and own my own confidence. I love the way it is now. They actually talk to the players and have conversations with them. They know where they stand. Whether it's the head coach or the assistant coaches, they're very communicative in showing them and telling them where they are and how things are going.
Yeah.
And finding out about the person and like how things are going and how their family is and all the stuff that comes with it. That stuff never happened, right? Like that never happened.
Did you see a lot of teammates giving that all the time? This way, I need to know. I just got to talk to them. I got to find out.
Yeah, and there had been moments where I'd be really upset, and I remember one vividly. I was really upset about something that had happened, and Mark,
Where were you playing?
here for the Blues, and Mark Bergevin was a veteran guy and a good friend of mine at the time, and I said I got to go talk to him, and he's like, just wait till tomorrow. Yeah, just wait till tomorrow, and it was real sound advice because I was pretty upset and fired up, and I'm glad I listened to him.
24-hour rule.
Yeah, I was 23, 24, and I was upset about something that had happened, and even didn't matter that I was in the right because I truly believed I was in the right. But it was really good advice from a veteran teammate to just wait till the next day. And then when the next day came, I felt like I didn't really need to go talk to them about it. Actually, it was a good idea that I didn't.
What's your advice to youth hockey parents who are frustrated and may want to talk to the coach often? You know what I mean? Like, should you feel like you have an open door to do that, or should you not?
My feeling on this is pretty simple. I think that parents nowadays do not like to see their kids struggle. Okay. And what they're missing is all the parents nowadays want to fix everything and make it a nice smooth path, a nice smooth transition, a nice smooth road for their kid. And for me, there's no growth in that. Let them struggle. Let them have. I'm not saying that let them struggle for the entire season.
Right.
Or encourage them. When I was that coach, I would say every year at the beginning of there's going to be 3 to 2. It's going to depend on the player. There's going to be 1 week, and it might last a month. Every player on this team is going to struggle. I'm not going to fix it for them. So if a player who plays with a kid who's really good on the forecheck, but I put him with someone who isn't good on the forecheck on purpose to make that player get on the forecheck, I'm not going to just move that kid with the good forechecker to fix your son's issue that I see that he's not hunting or doing those things. I'm going to let him figure it out for a few weeks and try to coach them to understand that they have to get on the hunt sometime, whatever the case may be. But I think parents, they see their kids struggling and they want the coach to fix it right away. Fix it right away. Like put it with someone to fix it. What they don't understand is that struggle is where the growth in their game is going to happen. It's okay for them to struggle. It's okay for them to fail. It's the only way a lot of times they're going to learn. And so I think we all want, for whatever reason, parents want to fix a nice smooth landing, a nice smooth transition, a nice linear path in their development. And I think that where they go wrong is that if we fix it continually, then they'll never grow. They'll never see the error in their own ways. Because sometimes, as much as we may tell them, they need to do it and fail before they learn.
What about coaching to win at a young age versus just looking at a big picture situation from a development standpoint? Because that's a very fine balance, right? I mean, you may play at a certain age and you'd be younger, but it still costs the same amount of money that a kid is paying that's older. So, you're still traveling, you're still paying a lot of money, and parents have an expectation to win. So, like, what's the balance in your opinion?
I think the balance is way simpler than people make it out to be. It's very simple. To me, you have games in your schedule that are easier than others. You have tournaments where you're traveling to a place playing against better competition. Mm-hmm. So in the moments where you're playing against lesser competition, which we all have those in our schedule, everybody plays. Everybody plays. Everybody gets to be in all the situations. That is exactly what should happen. For the most part, you try to make it as equal as possible. Inversely, when you're playing in a tournament and you're traveling or you're against top 15, top competition, you need to coach to win. Doesn't mean everybody doesn't play. It means you have to coach the moments, the time, the score, the situation, and make those adjustments accordingly because the kids learn from winning. And I can assure you that you're actually hurting some kids. Let's give you an example. You're playing against a top 5 team. You decide you're going to play everybody. Don't worry about where the zones, where they're starting, who they're on the ice against. What happens is you're going to destroy their confidence because they know. So a weaker player against a top 5, top line is sitting there going, oh my, I shouldn't be on the ice against this group. And they know that at 10. They know they're in trouble. And what good is it for them to get the equal opportunity, get scored on 4 times at the end of the game, and like, oh my God, that's not a good experience for them. So part of our job, in my opinion, as a coach at the AAA level, is to put kids in a position to succeed. And part of that is controlling who they're out to get against, because let's be honest, the other teams are doing it. Do not be fooled. The other teams are doing it. They're playing their top players and they're coaching to win. I think there's 2 buckets. You got to make sure everybody plays on these part of your schedule, which is likely have. And then in the moments where you're traveling and playing against better competition, you got to adjust accordingly.
So I like what you said about they expect the coaches to fix it. So what's the answer though? Should they be calling the coach? Should they be asking the coach?
I think they should trust their instincts. I don't think they should be calling the coach when things aren't going well. But I think that the way I look at it is, and Basil McCrae told me this, and he gave me great advice a couple years ago. And it was very simple advice. He said, when a parent reaches out to you and is upset about something, ice time or otherwise, it's because they love their kid. They love their son. And so when I start to really absorb what he said about that, it doesn't feel like I don't take it as an attack. I'm not that coach. I don't make those decisions, but I internalized it after that conversation with Basil as, I get it. I get where you're coming from. I know that I try to explain to him, I'm doing this by design. It's important that he figures this part out. I'm not going to fix it for him. We've been talking about these specific things that he needs to improve in his game, and we're going to let him work through it. And I'm going to continue to give him reminders, but I'm not going to fix it for him. Like it's that simple. And at the end of the day, why is he not out at the end of the games? Because when we play the lesser teams and there's been no, in any kind of close opportunity, there's been no evidence that he has shown that he can perform when it's needed. So why would I add that over here against the top teams, think that he's going to be able to perform in the moment? Like, it's just, but the point is that the parents love their kid. And when I take it from that perspective, it makes me be able to communicate better and understand, like, they're not doing it because it's just because they love their game.
I'm going back to when you first came into the NHL. Do you feel like coaches changed line combinations as often as we see now? And is that good or bad? I mean, every day you don't know what the line combinations are going to be. And I don't have a huge problem with it. That's why coaches get paid the big money. They got to utilize their instincts. But as a player, I mean, maybe you're not developing the chemistry, or if you lack chemistry, could that be a reason why if you're constantly putting the lines out of whack?
I'm probably old school in this regard. I think you should play players in pairs, and they should play with that person on every line. So each line has a pair that you'd like to keep together, and you can
Interchange a third guy.
and interchange the third guy. I think that continuity, that familiarity, if I was playing with Jay McClement or Ryan Johnson, or those are probably the 2 that come to mind to me, who I played with a lot, probably the most, even Dallas Drake. I knew where they were going to be. That comfort level allowed me to play an instinct. I think when you change it all up, all 3, you're less playing on instinct. If you keep one continuous player that you've always played with, becomes a familiarity and expectation, and we're both playing off of instinct, not having to think so much. And I think it becomes increasingly more important for the top six that there's more continuity with pairs for me, because they're playing purely on instinct and intuition and feel and where your body's going to be. And it's a much more of a skill type of game. For me, it was more like, I'm slash like cross, chip it in, get in the corner. Like, you knew I'm going to hold on to it. Like, it's a pretty simple game.
Yeah.
Right. But even that, I think it's important to me to have the pairs.
You brought up Ryan Johnson. Matthew Joseph, I keep using Ryan Johnson as a comparison for him, even though he doesn't play as reckless as RJ did. Like, he's not blocking shots with his face and crushing guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they both have had, RJ had tremendous speed.
Yes.
And I remember sitting and watching the morning theater of practice with John Davidson one day, and I think JD made the comment, could you imagine if he scored? Like, how good this guy would be. And he gets,
You couldn't afford it.
because he gets a lot of he gets so many chances. And a guy like Joseph gets a ton of chances, right? But he's not blessed with, being a high level finisher. But you can still appreciate what he brings to the table, can't you?
I like him as a player. For me, I think in your bottom six, you need guys who play with pace and are physical. And I think that over the course of
It's under the skin.
yeah, I think that's important. Over the course of a season, in and over the course of a game, you're wearing the other team down. I like his game. I think he's responsible. I think the challenge for him is to bring that physicality every game. And I think if he does that, to me, he's a very valuable. He should be an everyday guy. And it doesn't feel like that. Feels like he's heading in that direction now.
Yeah, he is.
But it wasn't that case.
He's out on the ice. The right minus left.
That's something he's earned.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that to his credit, he's probably annoyed that he's kind of, for whatever reason, been on the outside a little bit. And I like the fact that he's made it so that his name's not in the conversation.
I think he was annoyed last year at times. Like, he wasn't playing. He hadn't really been through that much in his career. But sometimes you have to look in the mirror too and say, hey, listen, what am I not doing? But this guy had a great camp, and he's been a bright spot. Again, you'd like to see a little more offense from him, but you got other guys that you need on from that you really need to point to from that standpoint. I think he just going to games expecting offense from Matthew Joseph, but he is getting a lot of chances.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm sure he'd like to finish a few.
He drives the net, and that's why he gets chances, right? He goes hard to the net.
Yeah, keep doing it.
And he can beat NHL defensemen wide on a consistent basis, which is not easy to do. So,
yeah, he should have conversations with Jake. I think that, Jake's able to finish, and picking the brain of another lefty that plays similarly would help him.
Jake Bambers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even a young kid.
Yeah.
They miss him.
You don't learn from him. You can learn from any of your teammates. I learned from 20-year-old when I was 37. Like, you don't stop learning in the game.
You ever break a bone in your leg from a block shot?
Broke ankle. And
then also the exact nature of the injury. I mean, I'm guessing it's a fracture. He blocked a shot in the leg, and he's out for 5 weeks. It's not like a sprained ankle or something. Right. It's not an elbow injury, right? So, how bad does that hurt? It was a 99-mile-per-hour.
Yeah, I mean, it's
whose shot would you get out of the way?
Well, I got out of the way of Al's because early on in my career, I won a face-off. Al got the puck, dragged it to the middle. I went to the net. He took a slapper, hit me in the back of the leg. Now, I wasn't wearing, the next day in practice, like, I finished the game, but it hit my calf. And I wasn't wearing the skinny jeans. They weren't even a thing back then. It was normal, straight cut. My legs, my calf swelled up so much because he hit me with the puck. And I never forget, like, after I went to the bench, I had to change right away. And Al comes down and he's like, yeah, I don't need you to stand up, get in front of the shot. And I go, I'm going to have to tell me once. So we'll get it up.
Like, in other words, get out
of the way. Just get out of the way. I could beat the goalie for me.
Okay, but what about an opposing?
Oh, they're scared you the most. There's tons of guys. Shea Weber, Rob Fake, yeah. Sheldon Surrey, Ovechkin. These are guys like who absolutely ripped it, and you're penalty killing, and you're like, damn, I gotta get it. Well, he was not an signing shooter, but
Okay.
no, he could shoot it, but it wasn't like from that spot. It's more the D that has to block that
On the PK.
right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. That's Robert Portillo.
yeah, I'm more for me. It's the D. Like the flank was more the D that has to come out.
That's fair.
So I try to shade a little bit over to them to help them out. But
Yeah. All right. We'll see. Blues hit the road today. They play Columbus tomorrow, so that should be a good game. Columbus is playing much better hockey as of late. I'll see a little bit of a change of guard. I look at this Utah team. They've got 5 players in the lineup who were drafted in the top 10. Detroit, all these first-round picks and all these, they got a 7th-rounder too in this Emmett Finney. It's a great story with him and what he's doing playing on the top line. Like at 20 years old, coming out of junior, it's a 7th-rounder. Like you don't ever see that.
no, what do you do in Detroit?
I guess so, but they're usually European or something.
Yeah, they're
Playing in like pro leagues over there. So,
Bloomer, right? Grew up.
you see Columbus, obviously, they've been building. Chicago's playing much better. They got a bunch of young stars. San Jose is going to get there. They won a big game last night against Jersey. So like, are we seeing the league turn over a little bit right now or no?
I think there's a lot of survivors. Look at Pittsburgh too. Like there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams we expected to be where they were last year that have started really slow. I think that'll be a correction of some sort, but
Like Toronto.
it's so hard to chase, right? Minnesota, Toronto,
Tampa Bay's won 3 in a row, but they really struggled out of the gate.
right? Minnesota, Toronto, there's Edmonton. There's a lot of teams that you were like,
Michael McDavid scored. Have you seen them play live yet or no?
I've not.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
I didn't like the goal last night though, where he let the guy at the forward, but 3-on-3, he just let him go by him. Like, what are you doing?
No team.
McDavid let him go by him, and then the D was like, "Oh, I thought you were going to get him," and then boom, he went in and scored. Game over.
Oh, cool. Okay. Dallas Tires and Auto Center, Sharon.
Yeah, it's that time, right? You can feel the weather changing. You've got your jacket on. You're trying to get one like this built one. They're not a sponsor, but if they want to send us some extra stuff and gift cards, we're available.
Normal brand, baby.
We're for sale, right? Is that what you're saying? And my buddies at Nolan, I love them.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, you know what? Winter's right around the corner. It's about to start. 43 store locations. And they got unbelievable deals on winter driving deals on the best tire brands, including Goodyear, Cooper, Continental, BF Goodrich, etc. You think about what you drive. Doesn't matter. Car, truck, light van, SUV, hybrid, EV. Dobbs has a team of experienced tire technicians and ASC certified associates to service them all. Go to Dobbs.com right now for all the deals on winter tires.
I love it. What else you have for us?
Well, dinner.
What's for dinner tonight?
Five restaurants: Barlino South, Barlino's Osteria, Chris's Baking and Dining, Chris the Docket, and our favorite, Barlino's Twin Oaks. I think it's still only a dinner, but anyway. For its many lasting relationships with customers, their family model, cook good food, serve plenty, 50 plus years in business, only 2 places to dine: at home, or one of Barlino's family of restaurants.
I love it. Again, Mark Cooper, Cross Country Mortgage. He doesn't put the spa in spa, but he does something, Jammer. You go to sleep resting nicely, especially if you're a first responder. If you're ever, unfortunately, critically injured in the line of duty, they cover your mortgage up to $525,000.
Wow.
Isn't it amazing? Doctors will send us up to $1 million for your loans, where you won't pay a lot of the fees that are attached to it. Refinances right now in the 5s and the 6s, mentioned Hockey Sense, and they waive all their fees, and they'll save you over $2,000. 314-713-4377 for Mark Cooper and Cross Country Mortgage. And of course, First Community. Sign your daughter out for the Little Blues program. Is the best way to get your son or daughter introduced to the game of hockey.
It is.
Did you do that with Crew?
We did. Yeah, they did have that. All my kids have done that, and I think it's a great program in combination with the NHLPA to get kids to try hockey for him. And they, at what cost?
They put their name on the Blues Hall of Fame as well. So
Blues do a fantastic job with that.
First Community wouldn't be possible without it.
Right.
All right, Gerald, thanks for coming by as always.
Appreciate it, bud.
This is Hockey Sense every Friday. We'll see you next week.